Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today's practice will be about 15 minutes and it's going to target once again the area of the hips and the low back. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is a lot of times people want to practice yin or release their hips, and that's great. However, oftentimes that pain or challenge or tightness in the hips comes as a result of some other weakness in your body. And so those muscles that are tight because they may be compensating for the weaker muscles. So we may benefit from creating flexibility. However, we may be missing a component of this that is causing us our discomfort. So today's practice will focus on not only improving and creating flexibility in the area of the hips and the low back, but also strengthening those places that may be weak so that you can create a practice that is balanced for mobility, flexibility, and strength. I always suggest that you think about coming into a yoga practice first for the purpose of creating stability and then mobility. We need to have a balance. So if you are drawn to constantly trying to open your hips, but you're not addressing some of the other trigger points, which may be the fact that some of your other muscles are weak, you might be doing yourself a disservice by not also adding in some standing strength poses to help to really create a firm foundation for the area of your pelvis. So I hope you join me on the mat and get some strength building out of this, some flexibility, and have some fun. See you on the mat. Come to mountain pose, root down through your feet, set your intention. Inhale, sweep your arms above your head as you root down. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center, bend the knees. Sweep the arms around and up. Get tall. Exhale, folding forward from your hips. Nice deep knee bend. Inhale, circle the arms up and around. Exhale, sitting back in that invisible chair. This time, sweep your arms forward and up. Inhale, add a little bit of a back bend. Keep your legs strong. Exhale to fold forward. Bend the knees. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, bow down over those thighs. Inhale, press the earth away, get tall. Exhale, sink. You're using those big muscles in your thighs and in your glutes. Bend the knees, press into the earth. Inhale, reach up. Keep some support through your pelvic floor. Exhale to sink, hinging those pelvis over the thighs. Inhale, reach, open. Exhale, bowing down. Plant the hands on the ground and step your feet back. We'll bring the knees to the ground. Make sure the knees are positioned right underneath the hip sockets as you move through cow and cat. Exhale, arching the back. Inhale, finding some bend in the elbows, looking forward. Exhale, round the back, press the earth away. Inhale, let's mobilize the spine here. Exhale to arch the back, move with your own breath. Ensure that the breath continues with you throughout the practice. Walk your hands one hand length forward. Draw the sitting bones back towards the heels and lift those sitting bones up to the sky. Start to slowly, one leg at a time, lengthen the back of the legs, pressing one heel down as the opposite knee bends. Press the earth away with the hands. Tone the belly. Get long through the side body, shining your armpits to the floor. Spiral those biceps around and up towards the ears. Root down, make sure the meaty part underneath the thumb is rooted and all the bones on the hands are rooted down. Press the thigh bones to the back wall. Beautiful, both heels stretching down wherever they go here, quadriceps lifted. It's great. With control, shift your shoulders over your wrists, bend your knees, lower them to the ground. Lunge your left foot forward, plant it inside that left wrist. You can always use blocks here. Slide your right knee back a lot. We want to get into the front of the hips here, the iliopsoas muscles. Now back toes are tucked. In this shape, we keep that front knee over the ankle, really lengthening out through the back hip. So we're stretching out that left psoas. And this can help us release some low back pain due to some weak muscles here. Want to maintain a nice long spine. Ride the wave of your breath. And then take that leg back and we'll step the opposite foot forward. Bring it inside the wrist, slide the other leg back a lot, really opening up. See that beautiful diagonal from the back knee to the crown. Keep that front knee tracking over the middle of the foot, and that spine keeps lengthening, reaching out through the crown of your head. Beautiful. Step that leg back. Coming back into downward dog, stretching your thigh bones back, heels rooting to the ground. Press the earth away with your hands. Now lower those knees to the ground. And once again, step your left foot forward. Slide your right leg back a lot. Keep that integrity through the position of that front knee. Begin to peel your back knee off the ground. Really important here to strengthen through that back leg. Think about stretching that left thigh bone forward, reaching that left thigh bone, that left knee forward as you extend back through that right heel, right thigh bone pressing to the sky. Use some side body muscles here to keep your body, your torso on this beautiful diagonal, following your breath here. This is a very strong pose. You're also building leg strength. And then lower that knee to the ground. And we'll take this lunge to the other side. So stepping the opposite foot forward, check the position of that front knee and ankle. Maybe even walk that front foot over one big toe width to the side of the mat. And peel that back knee off the ground. Use a lot of strength here, pressing through the back heel, reaching through the front kneecap. And then think about scissoring those legs together. Reach on the diagonal here. Support through your pelvic floor. Finding breath, strength through your side torso muscles. Beautiful. Release that knee down and step the front knee back. Lifting your sitting bones back up to the sky. Stretch the heels to the ground. Press the earth away. And just lifting one leg off the ground. I'm going to rotate that leg in its socket a few times and do the same thing on the other side. Bend the knee and then rotate that thigh bone in that hip socket a few times. And release that down. Bending both knees. Stepping that left foot forward again, right inside that left wrist. And you're going to pivot and plant the back foot on the ground in preparation for warrior one. Spiral that back thigh, that long leg back into the ground. So you're spiraling that back leg in and down from the hip socket all the way down to the outer edge of that foot. This pose too, as well as creating strength, also effectively stretches the tight psoas muscle in front of the hip. We also get a great stretch for the calf, and we're strengthening our front thigh muscle here. You can extend your arms alongside your ears. So notice here my knee tracking over that front ankle, and there's a lot of energy here through my thighs. That knee stays in alignment with the hip socket. Beautiful. Release those hands down to the ground and step back into downward dog for the transition. We'll begin to extend the opposite foot forward. So step that right foot inside the right wrist, line up the fingertips, the toes, pivot that back foot open about 25-30 degrees so that the toe points to the top corner of the mat. And that front knee is tracing again right over the middle of the foot. You want that back thigh to be spiraling in and down, really rooting down through the outer edge of the foot, and feel some energy through the arches of the feet. Seeing if you can get that front thigh bone parallel to the ground and maintain the integrity of your pelvic floor here, pulling it up and in, really zip it up. Arms are optional. The focus here is on our legs, but if you'd like to add a little bit more back bend in, arms reach up. Beautiful. The chest is open. You're reaching through your crown and release that down. Come into downward facing dog. Walk those feet, press the earth away, lift the sitting bones up to the sky, navel coming to the back body. Beautiful. Stepping that left foot forward again. Pivoting that back foot. We're coming into warrior two for a transition, so open up wide. So take a look at, again, left knee tracking over that left ankle, pointing towards the middle of the foot, really powering back through the back leg. You can rest that left arm on that front thigh. which is working towards parallel to the ground. But don't drop all your weight on it. If it's available, bring your hand to the outer edge of the leg. Press that knee towards the arm. This will pivot the thigh bone in towards the center of the mat near your pelvis, and let your knee track in its proper alignment. Let's sweep that arm down. Come back up into warrior two. Beautiful. Plant the hands and step back once again into downward facing dog. We'll do that sequence on the other side. Extend the right leg up, step it inside the right wrist, pivot and plant the back foot on the ground. Feel the leg strength lift you up. Press through that front leg, lifting up and open wide to the width of your mat. Check that your pelvis is facing the wide part of the mat. Beautiful. That bent knee, once again, check its alignment. We want that upper end of the thigh bone to pivot in towards midline and the bottom edge of the thigh bone down towards the knee to open towards the baby toe. Beautiful. Sweep that arm alongside the ear. Option to take that arm down alongside the shin and open the knee towards the arm. Really reaching here. This side angle stretch is great for strength and flexibility and helps our overall hip mobility. So these muscles that are originating deep in the hip joint. Find strength and openness. Beautiful. Step back into downward dog. Pedal your feet a couple of times as you press into the earth. Stretch the crown down. Still lots of length from tailbone to crown, reaching long through the back of the body, and then lower the knees to the floor. So this might be a new pose for some of you. Lower the chest slowly to the ground. And this is kind of a variation on frog. We're going to take the legs really wide. I'm on my belly. I'm supporting my forehead with my hands. Take those knees really wide, thighs really wide. Bend the knees and then drop the feet in towards each other. So this is like frog pose, except our pelvis is on the ground. And a variation there. Beautiful. Release those legs. We're going to do this 2 more times, but this time you're going to cross one ankle over the other. And notice how that changes the sensation in the outer hip area. If you want more, you bend the knees more. If you want less, bend the knees less. So there is some compression here through the low back. It shouldn't hurt though. Breathe here. I love this as a variation. Really gets into some of that tight resistant tissue. Take those legs wide again. And this time crossing the opposite ankle over top. You can kind of press those ankles towards each other to really feel the opening through the hips. That's great. So release those legs. And you're going to draw your legs together and prepare for Bhujangasana, Camel Pose with the variation of Sphinx. So I'm taking Sphinx pose. My legs here are really strong, and the reason I want those legs to stay active is so that your glutes stay active. When the glutes stay active, those are contracting, and then the psoas muscles, the muscles on the front of the hips, those tight ones, can loosen up. I'm taking the option here of bending the knees and drawing the heels in towards my glutes. Notice the position of the elbows under the shoulders. If you like, you can keep your legs extended. Just feel into what feels appropriate and the depth that you need to take. Notice the position of my neck, my head. It's just kind of following this natural curve of the spine. It's not dropping down. Beautiful. Let's begin to lower down. I'm going to have you roll over onto your back. So we're coming towards kind of 3/4 of the way through the practice. Bending your knees. And allowing those knees to drop open into butterfly pose. So we did it on our belly and now we're doing it on the back. And just notice how it feels different depending on where our body is facing, either down on our bellies or on our back. So 2 different sensations here, although the body is essentially in the same shape. One is supine and one is prone, meaning one is on our back and one is on our belly. And you're allowing your upper arms here to kind of be like goalposts, letting them rest on the floor so we can get a little bit of a chest opener here too. Beautiful. Just there briefly, help those thighs together. Walk your feet out towards the edges of the mat and allow for an internal hip rotation here. Notice the sensation across the back of your sacrum, across the back of your pelvis. Hands on belly can help you connect to your breath. Walking those ankles underneath the knees once again. Let's take that left leg up and over, cross it over the right, draw the knees together. This is Gomukhasana legs, so cow face pose on our back. You can squeeze behind the thighs or maybe take the shins. Take good care here of your knees. I don't want you to torque your knees. Feel the sensation here again through the area of your hip socket, keeping the upper body relaxed on the ground. And release that out, uncross, and cross the opposite leg over top. You can hold behind the thighs, around the shin, or if it's available and safe for your knees, taking the hands right down towards the ankles. Notice how my ankles here are flexed. This protects the knees. Feeling again into where those thigh bones insert into your pelvis and how we're getting into the tissue there. Beautiful. Release those legs, extend them up, and then bend them in towards your chest. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then extend those legs back up and opening them wide. If you have a wall nearby, this is a really beautiful way to end the practice in a more restorative stretch. You can take your legs wide along the wall. I'm doing a little bit more active stretch here, pressing through my heels. You can always hold your thighs as well. Just there briefly. Draw the heels in towards the glutes, draw the soles of the feet together. Keep those knees open nice and wide. So we're in butterfly pose, but on our back, still breathing into the tissue in our hips. So you can see how this was a practice that was balancing both strength and flexibility, and knowing that we need both to maintain a balance in the tissue of our hips and our low back area. Beautiful. Let's just let those knees gently sway side to side. Let the pelvis kind of rock side to side in tandem with your breath. Notice how you feel with this brief 20-minute practice. This might be a practice you want to come to again and again. If you, again, tend to focus just on stretching out the hips, I invite you to think about incorporating some muscular strength, because sometimes those hips are tight because they're overworking or overcompensating for muscles that are weak. So let's remember to create a practice that is balanced in our body. Just a few more breaths here. Just exploring your rotation on each side. You might pause on one side for a few breaths and the other as well. I'm going to walk my knees in towards each other again. Walk my feet out towards the width of the mat. Might feel a little different. My internal rotation actually is able to go a little bit more this time freely. Just notice what your body is open to, never forcing. Beautiful. Separate those knees once again, and then walk the soles of your feet together. Butterfly pose just as a way through to Shavasana. Walk your heels out to the corners of the mat. Take your arms out wide. I always like to say, take up a lot of real estate here. Spread nice and wide. Maybe gently move your head from side to side, and then line up the chin the same height as the forehead. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Coming into the experience of now. Planting your hands on your ribs and on your belly very gently, finishing up with the attention to turning inwards towards the breath. You can stay there a little bit longer. I am going to say goodbye for now. Thank you for practicing with me. It is always an honor and a privilege each and every time you tune in. So I hope this gave you what you needed for your hips today. From my heart to yours, thank you. Hips and heart, so strongly connected. Thank you for practicing with me. Until next time.